Why are there certain stronger words in tantric mantras like sham sham sham, phat, reem? Words that make you feel something.
So these are Vija mantras. I think last time we talked about, just touched upon it, Vija mantras. So these mantras, how did they originate? So that's a difficult question, but let's assume that these were heard by rishis or the great masters who were the originators of the path, and each of them have a specific potency and power in them. For example, now after a certain level of sadhana is done, the rule is that you cannot utter the Vija mantra loud. After a certain level of sadhana is done. Okay. Every other word in the mantra you can utter loud. Vija you will not utter loud at a certain level. So for example, this Vija that you specifically asked sometime earlier.
Because you can't say it.
I don't want to say it.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Reem.
Yeah. So there are two things in this. This is a very powerful, interesting Vija. This is known in Tantras as the Maya Vija also. Because this destroys your Maya and gives you a vision which is beyond Maya if it gets fully activated. Okay. It has this potency. Tremendous potency. And there are certain sadhanas where only this Vija is doing, people do japa of this, nothing before, nothing after. This is in Tantras, this Vija is considered to be equivalent to the Omkara of the Vedic path.
But it's also dangerous.
No, none of the Vijas are dangerous. There's nothing called dangerous.
I ask you that because I have a friend who's experimental with mantras. He said that he began doing some Kal Bhairav mantra by listening to it with a earphone. Went into meditation and 15 minutes his head started hurting a lot.
Oh, that could be. So these are anecdotal. I can't comment on this without knowing the individual. Okay. But no, this is not at all harmful. Okay. In fact, one of the potencies of this Vija is used in multiple mantras. This is also one of the Vija mantras connected to the Mahavidya known as Bhuvaneshwari. Okay. Devi Bhuvaneshwari. When blessings of this Vija comes to an individual, because he goes beyond Maya slightly, I'm not saying fully though it takes a lot of time, but a little bit. So there are a lot of positive developments also that will come to him. Okay. Bhuvaneshwari is a deity who can give you, again, there's always a caveat because there are many factors. Who is doing it, whether he or she has the concentration, whether he can take their energy or not correctly. Lot of material growth. Okay. At the same time, it will give you a clarity in vision. Certain amount of clarity in vision of if you are very attached to something, that is what is Maya. Fundamentally, the attachment is Maya, nothing else.
To a person, to a thing,
anything.
To a goal.
Wahi to main bola, when your attachment to the phone is also Maya to some degree. We all create our own Mayas. So, depending on how much attached you are to whatever it is, that is your Maya. Okay. So, and the degree of attachment you are also open to that degree of pain eventually. Because everything will go at the end one day. Okay. That's the one thing that everybody agrees on, whether you are spiritual or whether you are atheist. You are going to die, I am going to die. Okay. The moment you are dead, it's finished. But that particular Vija is actually a very positive Vija. It is considered to be just like Omkara in the tantric field. And it brings about lot of, it reduces the, what you call it, it can reduce clarifies your vision. So Maya clouds your vision. Attachment, the problem with attachment is that it clouds your vision. You cannot see properly. A person who is detached will be able to make a clearer judgment. Okay. So it clarifies your vision. It also brings you blessings, that Vija. Acha. This one is used in a multiple amount of mantras. It's very common Vija. Okay, very common. Whereas the other Vija that you mentioned,
I said phat.
That is to end something. That is particularly given in a mantra when you need a specific force to end. Means not necessarily end in a negative sense. Sometimes you have to end something that is negative.
Again, attachment.
No, not necessarily. Somewhere you see, it actually depends on the mantra, but more or less.
There was a Kal Bhairav mantra which had phat in it, which I had heard.
It could be. Many mantras have that. Many different deities mantras have that. So for example, you see somebody that trying to cause some harm. Okay, when directly you are seeing that somebody is trying to cause some harm. So you may use a mantra with this particular Vija that will work in a certain way to stop that person from causing harm. So this Vija is something to stop.
Okay.
But ठीक है, और इसमें the pronunciation has to be PH, not F.
Phat.
Ha, not fan. Because the fa pronunciation is not there in Sanskrit. Pa. Understood? Like this, there are innumerable Vijas. In fact, one who is an expert in Mantra Shastra can create a Vija also. You can create a Vija of a person's name. Now, don't ask me to create a Vija of your name, but I'm just saying, you can create a Vija of a person's name. You can, if you're that good in Mantra Shastra, if you know something's name, technically you can access that thing's energy. Mantra Shastra that we have in our Dharma is perhaps the most advanced. And I have had interactions, by the way, with people of in Western occult, little bit interactions. At one point, when I was not, my path was still not very deep here, still exploring. I used to have a lot of friends. I remember there was one occultist I knew from West. It's pretty good. And one of his very peculiar, interesting habits was that he used to go and search for haunted places, spend the night there. Okay. And he had weirdest experiences. He used to tell me. And he was good friends with me. I've never met him. Never met him. Only online communication. And I knew few of them who had serious abilities also, by the way. So they could sit there and tell me what dress I'm wearing and what was I doing yesterday and what am I doing and all that. Though they've never met me and nothing. They didn't even know my name, by the way, because I used to interact with them through a pseudonym or something like that. So this guy, I remember I had given him once he was facing some issues with it was his pastime. And I found it very interesting. And a lot of people like that I knew at that time. I had given him a Bhairava mantra, Vatuka Bhairava mantra. And then he comes back after a month and says that this is bloody magic. Whenever I am in trouble with these entities. And he used to do a lot of japa. Okay, he learned the pronunciation, how to do it. It was difficult for him to get the pronunciation right because he is not Indian. But after that, he used to do crazy amount of japa of that mantra. And he says that whenever he used to go into some kind of where there's a negative energy, the moment he starts with all this, they don't disturb him. They don't come near. So Vatuka is a child, but Vatuka has all the powers of Kal Bhairava. Only he is a child.
Okay. For the everyday listener who may not sit and do 108 time chant of the mantra, I just want to mention that you gave me something called the Bhairav Chalisa also, which is very similar to the Hanuman Chalisa, and you said that just play it at the end of your meditation or meditate upon it. I felt like even that brought a lot of change.
Yeah. That is very, very, very beautiful.
Even though it doesn't have tantric words in it.
See, that's what, in a way, Bhairav Baba is kind. Compared to other devatas, if certain parameters are set in an individual, if you take one step towards him, he will take 2 steps towards you.
What are the parameters?
So that is a judgment. Before giving a higher mantra, that's a judgment I make after interacting with an individual or something like that. I can't explain to you here because there are few other things. But more or less, the basic mantra, which is Om Bhairavaya Namah, is a Nama mantra. Lot of people I know do it. And especially after, I have, before also I've met people do it, but after the last time podcast and a lot of people who came to me and mailed me and all that. So this is a very good mantra to do. Yes, there is a certain nature of the Devata that is there. Bhairava is strict. So as I mentioned, more or less if certain fundamentals are there, means he will, Bhairav's Vidya, his tattva is that he makes you fearless. By not running away from things that you have run away, you face it. Oh, there's this caption that used to come, na, kya pata nahi, dar ke aage jeet hai, waise. She's like that. Baba will put you right in that situation, face it. Face it, face it. After that, you will be immune to the fear. Okay, that is his tattva. So, if a person can take that amount, then Bhairava Upasana is very good. For one, this, and number 2 is that the most ultimate blessing that Bhairava gives an individual, and it is not on day 1, by the way, it comes later. At a very advanced stage, he can teach you tantras, which nobody else in the world can teach. There is a certain amount of tantric vidyas which we know. Tantra Shastra, he is the guru of tantras. It is the tantras all come from him. Okay, he's the boss. He's the boss man. Okay, nobody knows tantra vidya like he does. He teaches as a spiritual aspect. I'm not talking about the avichar and negative things on tantra. No, I'm saying how to do devata upasana. Bhairava blesses you. There are certain forms of Devi upasana. Without Bhairava's blessing, you will never succeed. There are hundreds of people today who do Devi upasana. All of them, Mata to is so popular, and plus Navratris are there, this, that, etc. there. But the amount of people who succeed in Devi upasana is still lesser. Because the original rule, niyama, was that you worship Bhairava. As you worship Bhairava after a few years, he is the one who will tell you how to actually go close to her. And there is a very tight and very beautiful relation between Bhairava and Shakti. Very beautiful relation. So, one of the roots of succeeding in Devi Upasana is first to please Bhairav Baba. He holds the keys. He will tell you where is the route going, where you will reach. Okay. Otherwise, you can do normal bhakti, that's all fine. People do that all the time, go to the temple, little bit of some, Devi mantra, ye wo karlo, etc. I am talking about succeeding it, going to the ultimate stage. That is where Bhairava becomes very important. And as I mentioned also, on Ashtami Tithi specifically, me and there's a group of people whom I guide. So we do specific, on every Ashtami we do specific amount of japa of Bhairava. And that together we complete close to 2 lakh japas of Bhairava mantra on that one day with one sankalpa for the uplift of dharma. Okay. Generic sankalpa for uplift of dharma. And along with it, we feed people and annadanam, and there are specific pujas we get in Bhairav temples done, etc. So we've been doing that for quite some time now. So Ashtami Tithi specifically, the people who are connected and do this, they are people who have at least completed that simple mantra Om Bhairavaya Namah, that japa at least 1 lakh. 1 lakh means 1000 malas, which takes few months. But if that is done, then it's like he's tied himself to the energy of Baba. And the beauty of this mantra is that this is a generic mantra of Bhairava. If a person keeps doing this, some of the other form of Bhairava will bless you.
How?
But first of all, he's not going to come directly in front of you by causing certain changes in your life, which eventually is going to go into a positive direction. See, there are two options. When you start a mantra sadhana, just positive things may happen. And sometimes it may start with a negative. But always remember this, if it starts with a negative, it is because down the line somewhere it is going to have caused a larger problem. Larger amount of pain and suffering were in store at some other point. In order to, they cannot just wish it away completely, but they say that, okay, let's reduce it. Give it to him in a 1/3 or 1/10 of that. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say that if your destiny is, suppose that you are just, a man's destiny is that he's walking and he hits his leg and says his leg is to be cut off or something like that. If he does sadhana, mantra sadhana and all that, it's possible that nature may decide, okay, I will not do anything, just a pinprick in the leg. So it's balancing the karmas. Of course, he must have done that amount of sadhana. So that is how if somebody is able to take Bhairava Upasana a little bit, it's beautiful.
And it can begin by simply sitting in one place and just chanting out the mantra.
Or even the Chalisa. Listening to the Chalisa, yes.
Listening to the Chalisa.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
As simple as that. If you want to increase it a little bit more, anybody who wants to do, listen to the Chalisa, learn the Chalisa, light one diya, put one agarbatti, okay, and put some food. We call it bhog or anything. In fact, things made of gur are very
potent.
He loves it. Kuch nahi ho to gur ka batasha you can find, keep it and give it. Okay, there's a long list of food items he likes. He likes, for example, vada. Vada is one of the things. Vada is considered to be a vegetarian alternative of meat.
Vada?
Vada means we have idli vada.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like dal ka.
Yeah, urad dal ka.
Urad dal ka pattis.
Urad dal is considered as a substitute for meat.
Gotcha.
Okay. Good. Coconut water. These things. So even if not this, whatever is being cooked at home, that too can be offered with bhakti. He responds very fast.